Hello, welcome to 80 Days of Writing with yours truly, Alexis Marie Chute, author of Expecting Sunshine and the new book, first in the 8th Island Trilogy, called Above the Star. I'm super excited to be here with you today. It is day 12. Yesterday I wrote just over 3,000 words. I wrote for 2 hours. It felt great. I made up for some lost time, but really I don't want to focus on the past. I want to focus on moving ahead with my story. So today, what my goal is, I've printed off, it doesn't count yesterday, but I've printed off so far what I've written, and it's about like 60 something pages. Oh wait, here, I can tell you the exact number. 61 pages, so plus yesterday is 3,000 words. And what was also exciting about yesterday is I surpassed the 25,000 word mark. That feels like some progress. And this journey that sometimes feels so big, like 80 days, like that's months. Sometimes it's hard to for people to start a habit and develop it over the course of a month. But this is, and I'm so terrible at math, I believe it's 4 months. So 4 months of writing every day, trying to clock in at or above the 2,000 word mark. It is an ambitious undertaking. And so I'm definitely feeling proud of myself for how I've gotten this journey started. I've only missed 2 days, but I've made up that writing elsewhere. Anyway, so today I'm going to be going through what I've written already. So it's not the typical sit down and free write kind of day. I'm going to go through what I've written already, and I'm going to do some writing that might sound a little bit boring, but it's the glossary. It's, the definition of what these new races are. So far I've invented a race of giant called the Has. And they're this crazy, they basically have a skin across their entire face, so you can see their eyes moving and shifting under their skin, but they can't actually see, and so they feel an attack through sensing the vibrations around them. So that's just one example. So in this glossary, which is, I've got, 10 pages of glossary in Above the Star, book 1 in the trilogy, just explaining the different races of creatures, what they look like, what their powers are. And so I'm going to have to do that again for the book 2. But it's so important for me as I'm writing this huge other world. I need to keep these things straight. And so today I'm going to glossary write. I'm going to go through what I've created so far, because I probably have 5 or 6 different races of creatures already. I've introduced new characters. I need to get them in this glossary. But this is kind of fun. I remember doing the glossary for Above the Star, and I was kind of it just felt like a breath of fresh air, because I wasn't left wondering, okay, did I give this one person blue eyes, and then towards the end of the book, did they have brown eyes? I've heard authors do that. I've heard of, I was talking to one self-published author, and what's the one advantage of having professional editorial assistants and professional publishing is they do have a more close eye. You have other people beyond just yourself looking at these minute little details. And so if you are self-publishing, I do recommend having friends and family be early readers to test, to see if your story and plot work, and also to look out for these little things that you might miss when you're in your book day after day. And then you sort of become blind to it. And then also hire professional editors. Get a manuscript evaluation done. That's something I do for people, because I do have that neurotic eye for detail. It's easier to spot in other people's work because I'm not as intimately connected. Anyways, it's worth spending the money to make sure that your book is as perfect as it can be. Anyway, so for me, I'm hence being neurotic, I very much like to make sure that I haven't missed a detail or haven't made a mistake. So that's where this glossary is just like a breath of fresh air. It's this one spot in the book, the manuscript, that lives with the greater story. And for me, in all of my forgetfulness, I can go back to that place and just double check and make sure I'm on track. Okay, so that's what I'm going to do today. I do want to, this is a real book wall, by the way. It did fall down on me. Is that day 5? One of the days it did fall down. But I do want to take these 2 books and just share with you what I'm reading right now, because you know, like I haven't passed sometimes like not read as much while I'm writing, but at the same time, because I'm writing for such a long period of time, I do need to get my head out of my own story and into someone else's world to get lost for a little bit of imaginative break. And also as a writer, I need to constantly educate myself. And so that's something that I strive to do through reading, through interacting with other writers, through learning as much as I can, as often as I can. So I want to share with you 2 books that I'm reading right now. I'll start with a nonfiction one. Oops, and all my little notes are slipping out here. So this is DIY MFA. So I did go to school and received my Master's of Fine Art in creative writing. I graduated in 2015, so like 3 years ago. 3 years ago, like January, so literally 3 years ago. But I honestly believe you never stop learning, you never stop growing, and you need to read, get refreshers on things, get like a kick in the pants in other areas. So this is like, you know, the tagline here: write with focus, read with purpose, build your community. Anyway, so I was just perusing this book at the bookstore, and what stuck out to me that like I really latched onto was to do things in batches. So, for example, when I eventually get around to blogging, when I have time, I'm going to sit down, I'm going to write maybe like 2, 3, 4, if I could manage 5 blog posts in one time. And so that way you stay in the mental headspace. So that's just something that I loved about this book, was just like the little practical advice that it gave. And so that's why I picked it up. And so I'm just kind of reading. It's so nice to just like have this like chapters on character and chapters on plot and you know, just a different way to like get my head back into that like school space, you know? I kind of like school, so this book is helpful in that way. And they have some like really cool illustrations, like a diagram about character, and it's, let's see if I'm a good student and I remember. The acronym is TADA, so no, I don't remember. Thought, action, dialogue, appearance. Ta-da. So just like little things to help you make, even in that instance, strong characters, these things that come together. So I'd recommend this book. Like for anyone who has written for a long time, it's back to the basics, but sometimes the basics can be wonderfully refreshing. So that's book number 1 that I want to share with you. I'm going to place it very delicately back up here. So number 2 is Harry Potter. This cover is a little reflective. Harry Potter. The Wizarding World of Harry Potter. Anyway, this is my first time reading this, and I am, how old am I? I think I'm 34 years old. Oh my God, 34 years old. And these books have been out for, like, someone correct me, I think like 20 years. It says the 20th anniversary edition right here. So 20 years. So I do want to say that this is my first time reading these books. I'm loving it. So back when these books came out, I was in a more strict religion at that time. I'm not in any religion right now, but at that time it was like, don't read Harry Potter. Don't watch the movie Titanic because it has Kate Winslet in it. I remember the pastor distinctly saying Kate Winslet because she's a slut. Like, oh my goodness, so judgmental. It was so restrictive. You could only listen to a certain kind of music. And I took it very seriously back then. It was only after my son Zachary passed away, and I just felt like my beliefs left me wanting. And that's when I really started to evaluate and figure out who I am and what I believe, not just what I've been told to believe. And Harry Potter's awesome. People who, don't want to read this because of a certain faith, that's their right to decide not to read it. But I do think that there's some kind of a magic in this creativity, in this world that she has formed so beautifully. that I celebrate it. And I'm eager. I'm reading this at a slow pace because I'm reading it aloud, chapter by chapter, to my 8-year-old daughter. Otherwise, I think I would have devoured this book already. But it does feel wonderfully free. I'm a free spirit. I believe that there's something more. I don't know what that is. I'm working on that. It's something that I'm constantly evolving in my life. My belief in what we're here for. But I do believe we're here for creativity, joy, being kind and good to others. And so maybe that's my new spiritual practice. But creativity is very spiritual for me. And so when I'm reading books that like envelop me in this other world, I do feel this like bigger sense that humans have been given this gift of imagination. And when we fully explore and just like release ourselves to being in that creative space, there's something that like is holistic about that. It's not just mind, but it's like spirit, energy, all these things coming together and bringing us to life. That's why movies and books, like all these cultural things, people love that. It connects with us on a different level. Anyway, so I'm going to get to my glossary writing, which sounds a little bit less exciting than sitting down in front of the fireplace under a blanket because it is cold in Edmonton and reading Harry Potter. But this is what I've set out to do. This is the 80 days of writing draft 1 and draft 2 in the 8th Island Trilogy. So I'm going to put my Harry Potter book up here for inspiration as I plot out some different characters, figure out their nuances of who they are. So thank you for being here with me. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please subscribe to my e-news on alexismariechute.com/contact. Enter your name and email address, and I'd love to keep in touch. All right, time to get fingers on the keyboard. Have a wonderful day. Thank you. Take care.